What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers have had a rough season, to put it kindly, right? I mean, they're 3-10 on the season, although they are coming off of a win against the Brooklyn Nets and are on a 4-day break, which could be hugely beneficial, right? LeBron James is dealing with some injuries, some just like little nagging stuff, so this gives him time to get right. We know Anthony Davis has been dealing with some nagging injuries. This allows him to get right. We should be getting Thomas Bryant and Dennis Schroeder coming back, hopefully this Friday. That could be a huge positive and uplift that this team really needs. And our schedule really lightens up moving forward into December, where it just becomes a juggernaut once again. So November is going to be a really important, this last few weeks are going to be very important for the Lakers as we play Detroit. We do play the Suns in between the I guess easier games, if that's what you want to call it. But we do play the Spurs 3 times, play Detroit, and then we play Suns in the middle of that. And those are all, in my opinion, winnable games. Even the Phoenix game. Anthony Davis usually has really strong games against Phoenix, and they usually don't have an answer for him. Hopefully, guys can kind of put it all together and we can be in a good position. But also, the Lakers had held a meeting where they just kind of got it all out, right? And that's very important, right? Especially a struggling team, because there's this tension building, there's all these, questions, people are upset, people are bothered. You see a lot of teams when they're struggling, like even the Warriors did something like that, right? You see a lot of teams when they're struggling, they'll have like players only meetings, or they'll have, a team meeting to kind of try to rally the troops and kind of get everyone on the same page and have a good grasp and understanding of what's going on, kind of let all their emotions out. But Anthony Davis spoke about this meeting a little bit and gave us a little bit of insight as to what it was. And this is what Anthony Davis had to say. A lot of emotions, Davis said, per Dave McMenamin of ESPN, guys voicing their opinions, some back and forth, but it was all for the nature of trying to get better. So even though it might be a back and forth, it was, okay, I hear what you're saying, you hear what I'm saying, so now what's the solution? Instead of just butting heads constantly. So it was some good dialogue. So this is good, get it all out there, right? Anthony Davis is relaying that, guys had their little, spits, their little ins and outs. Russ, I'm sure, has some frustrations that he wanted to get out, having to switch to a bench role and things like that. And that this is just a moment to really open the air, right? Get it out. Have a discussion. You guys are all brothers in arms, going to try to win these games and trying to turn the season around before it's too late. Anthony Davis had a monstrous game against the Brooklyn Nets, and we need that Anthony Davis. I have said from day one, we go as far as Anthony Davis takes us, right? He's the driver of this bus, to use a Chuck analogy, right? He's driving the bus for this Lakers team, and we need a dominant Anthony Davis. I'm not saying he has to put up 37 and 20 a night, but, he should be an impact player, an impact force. He is the ultimate mismatch. We need him to be aggressive, to be physical. Having 4.2 point second halves is not going to get the job done. Up until the Nets game, he was averaging like 4 points a game in the second half. It's insane, right? He's not doing good. He had a stretch, like a 3-game stretch, where he had 0 points in the fourth quarter and only took 3 shots. Like, we can't have that Anthony Davis. We can't have our best player not getting the ball, not figuring it out, whatever, right? And him and Russ are having great dynamic. They look great together in that pick and roll game. LeBron and Davis do not. But a lot of it is just LeBron's not being aggressive off the turn of that pick and roll. And maybe that has to do with his injury. Maybe that has to do with him needing to get right? He was dealing with a little bit of a bug that went around that everybody seemed to be getting on the Lakers. So this little break and stretch, I think, is hugely beneficial for the Lakers, because it allows everybody to kind of get right, get better, get in position, right? It allows Dennis Schroeder, Thomas Bryant to kind of get some run in before they have to jump into a game and jump right into the fire, right? We got the report that they were heading to the G League to kind of get some reps in, do some practices and stuff. That's good. Kendrick Nunn's putting in extra work. Kendrick Nunn has been a huge disappointment. Like, he was the guy that I thought had the potential to be our third best player. And like, I thought Kendrick Nunn was going to be Walker this year, right? Like, I thought he would come in and be like a 15 to 17 point a game guy and just really dominate. And then if we had Walker, it was like, man, all right, like, We got like a legit team here, but none has just been a huge disappointment. This kind of gives him time to put that extra work in, which is good, and we're seeing him do that. He could just kick back, do nothing, just say, hey, I'm in a bad stretch. I'll figure it out. I'll try to get through it. I'll try to work it out. Don't worry. But no, he's putting the extra work in. He's willing to go to the G League and try to get some reps in and try to, work out with those guys and kind of, get some extra shots up and stuff, which is good. He's showing the effort. That's why this is good. I know it sucks. I know it's boring. You're like, man, come on, give us a game. It's been 4 days. But the Lakers need this, right? The Lakers need this badly. We need to be able to have a break, to have a moment to kind of just regroup and make a good, strong push, especially with the stretch of games coming up, right? These games are so important. These are games that can get us back into, the conversation of like being a legit playoff team again. And I do think, I still think the Lakers need a trade. I don't necessarily know yet if we need like a big blockbuster trade, right? I'd really like to see, like, we're going to get Dennis Schroeder and we're going to get Thomas Bryant probably through this 5-game stretch. And then I imagine the Lakers will reevaluate and see, like, okay, what do we really need, right? Because what if Thomas Bryant comes in and he's just playing great for us and being a monster and he's like solving a lot of our problems and issues, which he has the potential, right? And if he does, then you might not need a center. So go look at, some wing players, right? Some 3-and-D type guys, but if he's struggling and he's not doing it done and he looks like he's just a backup guy, or like a third string guy, then yeah, maybe we do need Miles Turner, right? So maybe the Lakers go to look at Miles Turner. What does Dennis Schroeder look like? Is Dennis Schroeder looking really good? Or do we need Russell Westbrook, where it's like, man, if we get rid of Russ, that's kind of it. We kind of have nothing else. It's just Rob Pelinka has a lot of things he's going to have to take in and evaluate. And he needs to be able to kind of see this team at full strength. That's what this little 4-game break does, or this 4-day break does. It allows everybody to kind of get to full strength, everybody to get healthy. Then we can give a good sample size, see where we're at. Even if we win those games, that doesn't mean that Rob won't be, paying attention to like what the trade, like if there needs to be a trade or anything, like what can we improve? But also it'll kind of give us an opportunity to kind of get back into a rhythm, get back into the flow of things, right? Like we should beat Detroit. We play the Spurs 3 times in like a 4 or 5 day span. We should beat the Spurs at least 2 of those 3 times. Now, I would like all 3, but if we're being honest, it's really hard to beat any team. Doesn't matter how good, how bad, any team 3 times, especially in like a 4-day stretch, right? I mean, even in NBA playoffs, you usually have a day or 2 in between before you play somebody, right? It's really hard to win those back-to-back games against the same team. So I wouldn't be upset if the Lakers dropped one of the Spurs games, but I'd love to win that Suns game. I'd love to get that Phoenix win. We get Detroit. Let's say we get the first Spurs game. We get the Phoenix win. Now we're on a 4-game win streak. We're feeling good again. Now we're 6-10. Let's say we drop one of the Spurs games and we win the other one. Well, now we're 7-11. If we can get to 7-11, now we're in the okay. Like we've weathered this storm. Now let's go try to get some wins, get back over 500. Because now you're in a manageable situation. Right now, you're not in a manageable situation. You're 7 games behind 500. Like, that's not very manageable. But if you can go on a nice little run, nice little stretch, and start putting, 4 or 5 game stretches together, all of a sudden, 40 games in, you're 36-16 or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, wow, like we really turned this around. So, and it's not uncommon. I mean, look at the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings looked worse than the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, they got themselves right. They went on this run and they've won like 6 out of the last 7 games. And they actually look really good. Like they look like a solid team and they're beating good teams. So, that's something that I think the Lakers can do. I don't think it's out of the realm of, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like the Kings do not have any player on that team anywhere close to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So those guys, even if you think Anthony Davis and LeBron James have taken a step back, they still are better than anybody on the Sacramento Kings. So if the Kings can go on a little run, a little stretch, and kind of turn their season around, I believe the Lakers can too. It's never too late until it's too late. So, let's hopefully, with this team meeting, them kind of having this and hashing everything out, getting everything out in the air, hopefully that's a good sign that things can start turning around. Because this little 4-day hiatus is the time to kind of, let everything kind of build and let everything kind of figure itself out, and all the pieces kind of start putting into place so you can go on this nice run. I would love for the Lakers to go on a 5-game win streak right now, because then counting the Nets game, there's 6. All of a sudden you're 8-10. Man, now you're in it, right? Now you're there. Now you're only like 4 games out of the Lakers are only like 5.5 games, 6 games out of third place right now. So as early as it is, that's the benefit, right? It's not too late to turn it around. I'm not saying that they will, but if they can, it's not too late, right? And a lot of teams are really struggling, and no team in the West looks like a world beater. Like, there's not a single team in the West I'm watching and I'm like, man, this team just looks unbeatable. Everyone just kind of seems like they're in the same spot, right? The upper teams, right? All of the winning teams, they're all kind of like clustered in like the same like little pool, right? And I do think if the Lakers can get into that spot to where they're kind of clustered with everybody else, you never know. You get a couple things fall your way. You still got LeBron James, Anthony Davis. I don't know. I don't think this team is a contender. Not what I'm saying, but I think it's not out of the realm of possibility to think LeBron James and Anthony Davis get in the playoffs. They could surprise somebody. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about this team meeting? Are you excited to hear this? Are you not? Are you glad that they kind of got it all out and were able to get at each other? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere between, let me know down in the comment section below.